Hello, hello, everybody. What's going on? What's going on, Mexicans? Yeah, that was shout out to Cabana and the boys on the Happy Hour Friday. Thanks for the shout out. That was an awesome show as always. So I wanted to do a video today before Discourse tonight. Me and Hex Live. I was friends with XO Joe, that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. Me and him were working together on getting up the PulseChain full nodes in Linux. We've got the software from the GitLab, and I figured out how to make a Ubuntu server and how to download the software, install it, and get it rolling. So this is going to be exciting. Let me do shout outs to the chat first. Let me say hi to everybody. Nardo, my man, what's happening? Valiant Brand, doing the Hexican work out there. Love it. Good to see you. Hex King, my dude. Hex Monkey, Hexander, Swearworks, DCS. Welcome aboard. Glad you guys can make it. So I'm going to show you basically from scratch how to make the PulseChain validator node. I'm going to assume that this is just for testing purposes. The real nodes from Richard and the dev team, they're not up and running yet. They're still working on those. But this gets us most of the way there. So I'm going to show you what I did. I'm running a Windows 10 desktop. And then I'm going to show you how to install HyperV, which is built into Windows 10. It's free. That lets you make virtual machines. You can actually make computers inside your computer. So I'll show you how to turn that on. I'll show you where to download. We're using Ubuntu Server. It's a type of Linux. I'll show you where to get that, download it. Then we build the virtual machine inside of HyperV. I've got some of that streamlined that I kind of did a lot of the work ahead of time, but I'll try to walk you through it all. Then we get into the server, and then I'll show you the exact commands that you have to use in order to get everything up and running. So here we are. This is my desktop here, just Windows 10. So the first thing we're going to do is, and I'll also type this out all in the description. I'll copy and paste all of the commands I'm actually going to use later, so that way later you guys can just copy and paste. So it's nice and easy for you. Yo, Identity Block, what's up, my man? Esteban 5555, Rothko, Big O, what's up, dudes? Welcome. All right, so first things first, if you're just chilling plain vanilla here, you got your computer, we got to install HyperV for Windows. So here's a little trick for you. On your keyboard, you hit the Windows key and you push R. And then that brings up the run window. And then what you're going to type in this is a little shortcut here. It's appwiz.cpl. This is the application wizard in the control panel. And then you hit enter. And then some of you may be familiar. This is just your normal add and remove programs. It's in the Windows control panel. This is just your, this is where you can uninstall stuff, basically. This is normal. Then over on the left-hand side, where it says turn Windows features on or off, we're going to click into that. And then that pops up another window. These are the Windows components. This is the Windows software. By default, on Windows 10 desktop, HyperV should be unchecked. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to check this. Click that box right there for HyperV, and that should automatically select all of the stuff underneath, the HyperV management tools and the HyperV platform. And then you click OK. Then on your computer, it's going to start installing. It's going to start downloading. It's going to take a little while, and then eventually it's going to ask you to reboot. It'll say, "Okay, I'm done installing. Let's reboot." Cool. So go ahead and do that. Once that's done, then when you come back, when you go to your computer, you should be able to go to your start menu here. You're going to go to Programs. You're going to go to Windows Administrative Tools. And then you're going to go to the HyperV Manager. And I've already actually got it up and running here. So what we've got here is this is where you can make virtual machines, virtual servers inside your computer. You can see here I've already got a couple that I've been messing with. But I'm going to show you how to make one from scratch. Over on the right-hand side here, we're going to click on New. And then we're going to click on Virtual Machine. And then it brings up the wizard. So first screen, you just go ahead and click Next. You're going to go ahead and type the name of your virtual machine. We're just going to call it Pulse Node. I'm just putting in 2 because I've already got one. Now here's the thing with what I've been told so far is the Ethereum blockchain is like 850 gigabytes. I think is what Hodl Dog told me. So you're going to need some hard drive space. You're going to need about 1 terabyte. If you don't have that on your hard drive, maybe you'll have like an external hard drive. You're going to have to put this somewhere, the file, to store the server. So you need a lot of hard drive space, like 1 terabyte we're going to need. So in my case, I've already done that part, but we'll just go ahead and keep going through the wizard here. So I'm going to click Next. It's going to ask you to choose your generation. You can go ahead and choose generation 2. That's fine. It's got all the latest features, and it does require 64-bit, which is what we want for Ubuntu. So generation 2 is fine. You could do 1 as well. It really doesn't matter for this build. Going to click Next again. And then it's going to ask you how much memory or RAM do you want to give to your virtual server. So I'm lucky, my computer's a beast, so I gave mine like 16 gigabytes, which is like I don't know if it was like 16,000 basically. You could get away with, actually, if we take a look at the GitLab, let's pull that up. If we go gitlab.com/pulsechaincom/go-pulse, and then if we go to the README, and it actually has some recommended specs here, or like minimum. So if we go down here to hardware requirements, it says the hardware must meet certain requirements to run a full node. VPS, which just means virtual private server. That's what we're building. Running Mac OS or Linux. We're using Linux. Gonna need 500 gigabytes of hard drive space. I recommend doubling that. If you've got the extra space, if you've got like 2 gigabytes, definitely want to bump that up. Let me check chat real quick. Hey, what's going on, guys? 4-door GTZ, what's up, dude? Adam Demora, Russ, UFO 42, what's happening, my man? Glad you guys can make it. Yeah, this is how to build a Pulse node from scratch. Nice and easy. Took me and X Live like the last 4 days of chatting back and forth, and we had like a call like an hour ago. So wanted to share with you guys, hot off the presses, guys. This is how you make a Pulse node from scratch. So it says here, you're going to need 8 cores of CPU and 16 gigabytes of RAM for mainnet. That's how I built mine. I'm using the specs for mainnet. But for the testnet, it says you can get away with 4 cores of CPU and 8 gigabytes of RAM. You're also going to need a broadband internet connection with an upload and download speed of at least 1 megabyte a second. And I've got that too. So going back to our virtual machine here, we were looking at how much RAM do we want. So to meet the minimum for the test net, you're going to need 8,000. Once the main net comes out and we're actually running up on the real Pulse network, you're going to need 16,000. So there's a checkbox here for use dynamic memory for this virtual machine. This will automatically give the virtual machine RAM when it needs it and take it away when it doesn't. I personally leave this checked off because I've got the extra RAM on my computer. You can leave it on. It is supported with Ubuntu. But for this purposes, I would uncheck that because we don't want to fiddle with it. We want that RAM to be dedicated to the virtual machine, and that's it. So we're going 16,000 megabytes. Uncheck use dynamic memory. Go to the next page. This is your networking. This is the internet.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
By default, when you set up HyperV, it'll automatically use your computers, your actual desktop's network. It'll make this default switch here. So that's what you're going to want to pick. That's like your internet. It's a virtual networking switch. So just pick default switch, click next, and then it says create a virtual hard drive. Now here's a trick. Here's one step I recommend. It's slower, but it works better in my opinion. Is you're going to go down to the bottom and you're going to click on attach a virtual hard disk later. We don't want to do this now because there's some options missing here that they don't give us. So we're going to skip that for now, click next, and then click finish. And then it quickly builds it, and then ta-da, here's our server, Pulse Node 2. We're going to right click on this and go to settings. Okay, now we're in the settings of the virtual server. This is like picking the hardware, you know, what kind of CPU, what kind of RAM. So the first thing you got to do is you got to go to security. First option, secure boot. We have to uncheck this. You got to turn this off. Where it says enable secure boot, uncheck. That goes away. Then you click apply. I just like to lock it in. The memory, we already set that at 16,000 before. You could also do 8,000. So that's all set. Make sure enable dynamic memory. We want that unchecked, even though we did that earlier. Then we go down to processors. This is how many CPUs you have to give your server. So the testnet recommended 4, and mainnet recommends 8. So we're going to go with 8 because I want this to be, you know, more the merrier. This computer I have has plenty, so that's fine. Then you're going to go to SCSI controller, also known as SCSI. If you're an IT guy, it's a SCSI controller. And then by default, it's already got the hard drive selected. We're going to add a hard drive from scratch. So you click on the add button here, and then it says, okay, what do you want to do? We want to make a new hard drive. That brings up a whole nother wizard. So we skip the first page here, but you just click next. Here's the key. It says, what type of virtual hard disk do you want to create? You want to choose the first one called fixed size. What this does is basically the hard drive of the computer, like your C drive, it's just a file. And we're going to go ahead and make that file ahead of time, and it's going to take up the full terabyte of all the space. We want it to basically soak up all the space it's going to use in the file ahead of time, so it's pre-allocated, it's already set there. This makes it a little bit faster, and it even says here, this type of disk provides better performance and is recommended for servers running applications with high levels of disk activity. It's just, yeah, better performance, and it uses all the hard drive space now. Totally cool.
No, I don't.
And then you go ahead and you give it a name. So you know, I just called mine like Pulse Node Hard Drive. Yeah, doesn't matter what you name it. The location. Then you got to pick where do you have space. So this will depend on your own setup. You can click on Browse, and then you've got all your disks here, your C drive, your D drive. I've got a lot of drives, and I'm actually using I'm just using an old 2 terabyte external hard drive. So pick where you want the file to live, wherever you've got like a terabyte of space. Then you're going to go ahead and click Next. Now, right here up at the top, it says how big do you want it to be. You're going to want to do 1,000 gigabytes, 1 terabyte. So that's how big this is going to be, and that's going to be more than plenty, right? That'll last no problem. So then you're going to go ahead and click Next, and then Finish, and then I'll show you for a sec here. We're not going to go through this because I don't have enough space. And this little box pops up, and it's going to go ahead and build the hard drive. Yep, I don't have enough space, so that's cool. So then you're gonna have to wait while it goes ahead, and it's gonna fill up 1 terabyte of your hard drive to make the file. It takes hours. I let this cook overnight. Like, just, you can leave it like that. You can minimize it, go do something else, and come back to that tomorrow. So this is like almost a 2-day process to let that cook. And unless you've got a solid state hard drive that's like 2 terabytes and it's fast and you've got plenty of space, then it might go pretty quick for you. But for me, I let that cook overnight because it was brutal. It was huge. All right, so we're going to pretend that finished. We waited for that loading bar for hours and hours, and it finished. We click Finish. Then that hard drive will appear here. It'll be attached. Then you're pretty much all set with the building. We're good. That's it. And then you'll see you've got your server here in the list. If we were ready, we would go ahead and hit Connect, and then we'd start it. But we're not ready yet. There's one more thing we got to download, and that's Linux. We have to get a copy of Linux, which is the operating system that we're going to be using, which is obviously different than Windows. So you just pull up your web browser, and we're going to be using Ubuntu Server. So you can go to ubuntu.com, and you can even go /download/server. It'll bring you right to this page here. We're going to scroll down. You can choose option 2 for manual server installation, because we just want the file. Scroll down a little more here, and then you can click the green button, and you're going to download Ubuntu Server version 20. It's LTS, long-term support. So these guys, this is the flavor of Ubuntu that these guys are going to support for a couple of years, and they've gotten most of the bugs out, and it's pretty standard. Also, if you're using Amazon Web Services, AWS, you can make a free account with them, and you can sign in with AWS. This is one of the options that they give you by default that you can run your servers with there, and it's actually like the cheapest. So if you want to do this in AWS, if you're comfortable and confident, then that's an option too. So you go ahead and click this and download it. I've already done that. I've got it ahead of time. It takes a few minutes. And then, boom. So that's downloaded. So now we have a copy of Ubuntu. That's going to be a file. So now we go back to the HyperV Manager. We're going to go to our server that we made, the Pulse node. We're going to right-click, go to Settings. We're going to go back down to SCSI controller, and then I'm going to pick DVD drive. This is the virtual DVD drive, and we're going to be sticking like a virtual CD inside. That's what we just downloaded from Ubuntu. So you go ahead and you click Add, and then you're going to click here for Image File, and then you click Browse, and then you give it your file, which I've got right here, Ubuntu Live Server. So there it is right there. You select it, and boom, check that in. Let's skip over to my real one. This is my actual Ubuntu server that I built earlier. You can see here. So we'll go to DVD drive, image file, browse. We're going to give it the Ubuntu server. Awesome. Now let's go back up here. Okay, so we're going to go to going to go to the firmware. And then right up here in this top window is the boot order. You're going to want to go ahead and, by default, I think the hard drive comes in at top. You're going to want to click on that DVD drive, and you're going to want to move it up to the top. So that way it tries to boot off of that first. And then we want the hard drive, and we want the network adapter at the bottom. Because Hyper-V, it wants to like go for the network adapter, so you gotta force it to get that DVD up there. Okay, so we got our DVD drive, we got our hard drive, we've got our 16 cores of processors, we've got our RAM. Secure boot is disabled. All right, pre-flight check ready. And let me check chat real quick here before we get into the nitty gritty. Russ says, I prefer Debian. Totally, that's an option. Debian Linux should work. Try it out. I'd actually love to hear if somebody else does try it and if it does work, because there are a ton of different Linux distributions and different varieties and flavors. So, it should work on a bunch of stuff. Matt Hyde says, I want to delegate to you, bro. I assume you're going to be one of the biggest validators. We'll see. We'll see. I want to. I don't know if it's going to be profitable, though. I fear it isn't at first. You're not going to make any money. And I've been talking to Kinetics from Discourse Syndicate. And that'd actually be a great question tonight for those guys on the Friday night hangout in 2 hours here on Discourse is, will they be doing a validator? Because they talked about it. And they also talked about like basically setting their validator to 0 fees, and then it gives all the fees to the delegators. So, I mean, if those guys do that, like, I'd love to help them with that. If they do that, then it literally makes validating not profitable. Like, if they're going to give all the fees to the delegators, then, like, by far that's the best choice. And, like, I couldn't compete, right? Like, because these are, like, getting a really nice server and running these, it's going to cost thousands of dollars a month, thousands. Or you're going to spend 10, 20 grand up front to buy a physical box and then run it somewhere. You got to give it power, cooling, like dual internet. You need like 2 internet circuits. You better have a generator in case the power goes out. Because the thing to know with these validators, if you're running a validator and you're actually mining the PulseChain blocks, when it's your validator's turn out of the 33 biggest, if your server's not there when it gets selected, man, you are going to get slashed and you're going to lose Pulse. Like, Pulse will be deleted from your wallet if you don't, if you're not running like 24/7. If you have an outage, it's game over. It's like, this is serious. Richard even said it, like, this is serious. Like, this is kind of what I do for a living. I'm an IT guy and I run servers for other clients and stuff. So this is sort of, this is what I'm used to. So, but it's not easy. This is big money we're talking about. So, hey, Elias, what's up, dude? So, yeah. All right. So we're pretty much built here. This is the basic setup, nice and easy. So we're going to go ahead and go back, and we're going to double click it. This will connect the screen here. I'll pull this over here for you guys. All right, so this is what it looks like. Let's go ahead. I'm going to check. So you can click up at the top, click on media, click on DVD drive, and you can see it's listed here. You don't have to click, but it shows that the Ubuntu CD is in the virtual CD tray of the virtual server. So we're good. So let's click the start button, fire it up. Okay. All right, let's go full screen. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a little rough. Let me try to maximize this right here. That resolution. Try it one more time. Yeah, it's too hard to read. There we go. Okay. So, all right, cool. It's booting up for the first time, and we're just going to let it do its thing. Now's the fun part. We get to relax, have a happy hour drink if you got one, and let's let this fail. Okay, so now the CD's just installing itself, doing its thing. Okay, here we are. Now we're at the. I really want to zoom in. We're missing part of the screen here. It's like impossible to see. Oh, I got an idea. Sorry, guys. Let me back it out a little. Let's go to 150. Almost, not quite. Let's go down to 125. I just want you guys to see the whole screen here, because a little bit is cut off at the bottom. Okay, I think that's about as good as it's going to get, guys. All right, you guys can see that okay, right? It's not terrible. Okay, so this is cool. I don't know if you guys have ever used Linux before, but this is, there's no, like, desktop. You don't even use a mouse. This is just keyboard. So you pick your language. You just go ahead and hit enter on the keyboard. We're going to go, what's the next option here? Keyboard configuration. We're going to leave the default. Hit enter for OK. This is your network adapter. You don't have to do anything here. By default, it's going to connect automatically and get an IP address from your router or your DHCP server. You know, somewhere in your network it's handing out IP addresses. So just hit enter again. You're all set. Proxy address. You know, you'll know if you have a proxy. If you're not sure if you don't, then you don't have to worry about it. Just hit enter. It's asking for the Ubuntu mirror. This is where it's going to call home to Ubuntu, download any updates, like for the official operating system. So just hit enter again. We're going to leave that. This is our hard drive. You're going to go ahead and use the arrow keys, and you're going to scroll down to the bottom to done. It's just asking you if you want to use the whole hard drive. You could set up encryption on your hard drive with a password if you want. This is just a test, so we'll just leave it. Scroll down to done, and click enter. By default, it magically sets up the hard drive. It makes the partitions all by itself. We're just going to leave it the default. This will work. Not a big deal. And we go ahead and click done. Now it gives you a warning here. It says, hey, are you sure that it's going to erase everything on your hard drive? And that's okay, because we made that virtual hard drive file earlier. So that's all good. Not a problem. So you just highlight continue in red because it's warning you, and click enter. Okay. Now we're at the setup screen. So your name, my name is David. And then you hit tab on your keyboard to go to the next line. And then it says the server name. I'm just going to call this Pulse node. You can call it whatever you'd like. And this is pick a username. So I'm just going to type in David again. Going to choose a super magical secure password. And then enter. So pick your username, pick your password, and enter.
What happened?
Here it's asking if we want to install SSH. We're using HyperV here, and we're right at the computer, so we don't need this. If you're in Amazon, it actually does this automatically by default, and that's how you're going to connect. So for us, we're just going to leave it. We're just going to hit the down arrow and push enter. If you wanted to log in remotely to your computer, to your server from remote, you could have turned that on, but that's advanced stuff. This is a bunch of software and features that Ubuntu offers in the installer here. We don't need any of this stuff for our purposes, so we're just going to scroll all the way to the bottom and hit done. Cool. Okay, so we made it through the installation wizard, and now it's going to go ahead and install itself. What we're looking for is down at the bottom. Once it's done in like 5 minutes here, it'll ask us to reboot, and then we know it's ready, and we click reboot. So now we can just kick back and catch up a chat here. We just let this cook. Now it's installing. All right, guys. Identity block warning. Are you ready for mad gains? 100%, bro. Definitely ready. Absolutely. Hey, Michael Rasmussen. What's happening? Fugitive. What's up, dude? Orion. Hey, Motley. What's up, my man? YouTube unsubscribed me. Oh, dang, bro. Well, welcome back. Orion apt get hex. Love it. It's a Linux joke.
Let's go.
Fugitive says, wow, this looks complicated. A little bit. Took me a couple days to figure it out. But once you once you figure it out, and I've wrote all down all the steps, then it's easy. And then we can even, it's definitely for another time, another video, but there's a way that we can take all the commands that we're going to be doing in this, and we can put them all in a file, in a script, and then like next time you want to do this, you just double click and it just auto installs, and it just does all of its things. Even within Amazon, you can even take it a step further. You can actually script Amazon, so it'll automatically make whole brand new Linux servers all by itself and then run your installation script. So it's possible to automate this whole thing, so it'll just make Pulse nodes all by itself. All we really have to do is get through this like first one here and try it out and figure out what do we like and what commands do we have to do. That's the hardest part. Once we figure this out, like we're golden. Russ says, who else is pumped to be a Pulse OG? This guy right here, man. I am pumped to be a Pulse OG, dude. Hell yeah. We're all going to be whales, man. It's like, this is like getting in an Ethereum 7 years ago at the beginning when Ethereum cost 15 cents each. And then it went to $4,000. So, yeah, man. Brad Ophelius, what's up, dude? Thank you for doing this. My pleasure, man. My pleasure. This is a hobby of mine. This is fun. I'm in it for the tech. I'm in it for the tech, bro. That's what this is about. I'm pretending to really be in it for the tech. This is actually how blockchains work. This is what's going on behind the scenes. While you guys are all going to Uniswap and getting your hacks and getting your coins, it's poor nerds like me slaving in the data center that actually make this all possible. So, and Richard, his devs actually, they do 99% of the work. This is only 1% of the work. This is the easy job. Running the servers. Actually making the software is, that's the tough part.
Where are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Identity block says I'm at 13 and a half pulses.
Because you got tagged by Bob Necker? I don't ever write it.
Mickey Moore says, how is P network and PulseChain tokens be
Yeah.
differentiated? I'm not sure. I don't know what P network is. Yeah, because the PulseChain tokens are going to be called PLS. That'll be the official ticker. Now, right now on Etherscan, there's a scam going on. Anything you see PulseChain or PLS on Etherscan right now is bullshit. It's a scam. There's people that are like front running the idea, and they're trying to do like a dust attack. So don't fall for that stuff. Russ, what a great time to be alive. You get the tech and the mad gains. Exactly. That's the best part, man. Doing what I love and making money while we do it. Four-door GTZ says, spinning her up your own Gibson. That's right, dude. My password is God. Hack the planet. You guys ever see that old Hackers movie? With Angelina Jolie? Oh, man, it's classic. Highly recommend it. So, yep, this takes a little bit. It's almost done, actually. Now it's downloading and installing the security updates, so we're at the last stage here. And then we'll be able to log in and check it out.
Nice.
So,
No, we kinda-
just to talk about PulseChain for a second, I chatted with Richard right before the stream here. He sent out a tweet a little bit ago asking for any Ethereum dudes if there's a faster way to sync nodes on AWS. Richard confirmed that the PulseChain nodes are not up and running yet, so it's not like they're going to build their own environment first, and they're going to get their own test net validators set up and kind of talking to each other, and then they'll release it to us. So that has not happened yet. We're kind of ahead of the game already. So this is what you'll need to prepare to do that.
Yeah, but if you like put it on the market, you make
Yeah, the test net is not up yet. Yep.
No, it is.
So coming soon, yeah, coming soon. Acid burn, yeah, man. So, almost done cooking. So, once we get this up and running, it's actually just a couple commands that we figured out. Ash says, hopefully he's releasing a Pulse Explorer as well at launch, like Etherscan for Ethereum. Yes, that would be awesome. I think Steph from Staker App even said that's one of his requirements, like before they even try to develop and launch, is like he needs access to the full testnet. We need a block explorer because Steph and Firebun, they're going to need. It's going to take some time, guys. Like, even after the sacrifice phase is done, I think PulseChain, it might take 2 months for this to, it might take 2 months for it to even get going. Hex King, I'm ready to delegate my stakes to you, Mr. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate your vote. Yeah, I will be making the rounds when the time comes, and I'll definitely be trying it out, and I'd love to do it. So we'll see. We'll see. I can't guarantee because it might be prohibitively expensive. That's my fear, is that you may be into this for 20 grand and you're just hemorrhaging money every month. So we'll see. But hopefully I'll get to talk to, I'd love to jump on Discourse and I talk to RG3 and Kinetics and see what they think of it. You know, if they really are interested in doing that. Because the more the merrier, the more the better. John says, I don't even understand what I'm looking at, but it looks great. This is Linux, bro. This is, yeah. You're looking at what makes all this blockchain junk possible. It's just software, dude. It's just open source software. It's just a bunch of stuff you can just download and do it all yourself. Ace says, good to be here. Going to run a node of my enterprise private cloud. Keep this going, bro. Thanks, man. Got an enterprise private cloud? Really? There you go. Yeah, I'd be curious what provider you use. Are you on like DigitalOcean or are you at level 3? I mean, there's a ton of data centers out there where you can actually just rent server space. You can just rent a rack and put your own physical boxes in there, and they give you dual internet and power and cooling and all kinds of stuff like that. So that'd be pretty cool. The Bitcoin Doctor, Dave, thanks for leading the charge. My pleasure, my friend. My pleasure. This is fun. I get a kick out of this. Hextoshi RH said, ETH made Etherscan easily copyable. Baller. Awesome. That's great. If they can just fork Etherscan, make the changes they need for PulseChain, and then off we go. That'd be sweet. Hex King says, I ran a master node once, never again, LOL, but I'm glad to delegate to the pro. Thanks, Hex King. I appreciate that. Was that a Dash master node, I assume? I wanted to get back into I wanted to do one of those back in 2017. I remember Dash was $7 each, and you needed 1,000 Dash. So it only would have been $7,000. And then I think, if I remember correctly, Dash went from like $7 to like almost 1,000. And then a masternode would have been $1 million. So sadly, I'd missed that ride, man. That was one of the great blunders of 2017, 2018 that I can still remember. That's why I'm a Hexican, man. Hard lessons learned. But here we are. Now we're doing it right. We got a second chance. We got PulseChain. We got Hex already. This is our second chance, guys. You know, this is what crypto's all about. Now we've learned all those lessons of the past, and now our technology's even better. This is going to be sweet. Faster, better, stronger. It was a crap coin. Chainlink, have you heard of it? It's dead now. Lols. I had no idea Chainlink even had masternodes. No idea. Any coin that's whole premise is based on oracles, I don't know about that, man. Oracles are, whenever a blockchain has to go out into the inside world to get data and rely on an oracle, that's when you have problems. That's why Hex is fantastic, because there are no oracles. The software is self-contained. All the functions are within the Hex contract, and it doesn't care about anything outside of itself. And that's why it's really secure. That actually stops the attack vectors. So, all right, guys, we are good. It's done installing. So you just hit the arrow key down twice, and we go to reboot now, and then we hit enter, and it'll reboot. Get this warning here. It says failed to eject the CD drive, but when I click up here and I go to media and I go to DVD drive, it did eject it correctly. It's already gone. So it worked, but it says it didn't. So ignore that.
Yes,
Hit enter one more time to reboot. Hey, Rothko, what's up, dude? High energy, love it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Hexmax, we need a tutorial on how to delegate a stake. Yes, definitely. I know Richard on his Twitter, if you go back, I think maybe a couple weeks, he released some screenshots of the delegator interface. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot there. We're not sure how that works, but once we get closer, or even on testnet, I'll show that off if I get the chance, or hopefully Richard will. So definitely, yeah, for sure. We'll definitely be checking that out together very soon, I'm sure, once that's up and running. All right, guys, we're here. It was booting up while I was talking, and now we're at the login. If you wait like a minute, it does its like little pre-check thing here. So I like to let it go through this real quick, and then we're looking good. Booting up, warming up. Lots of server talk. We're going to hit enter a couple times till we get to the login. Cool. So you just type our username. My name is David. Enter. That's your password. Type that in. Cool. We're in. All right, everybody. If you've gotten this far, congratulations. You have successfully installed Hyper-V and created a Ubuntu virtual server. So pat on the back. You did it. All right, so now we're in. Now we have a server. So now we're going to cheat a little bit. I've been working on this for a couple days, man. Me and Hex Live were struggling with this for, not struggling, but we've been working on it. We've been cooking this up. So I've actually got a little cheat code here. I've got all the commands we're going to be using. So it's nice and easy. All right, cool. So we're in. We're at the little $ prompt here. So first thing we got to do is we got to install a program called make. So all you type in is sudo apt install make, and then you hit enter. Now it's going to ask you for your password because we used sudo. So we're going to go type in our password, hit enter. All right, cool. Now it's going ahead and it's downloading make, which we will need. This is actually one of the coolest things about Linux is you can just type in like one command and it downloads a program from the internet automatically and installs it in seconds. It's amazing. All right, that's all set. We are back at our $. So next one is we're going to do sudo apt install golang-go, and then hit enter. And that's going to install the Go language. So right here at stop, it says, hey, this is going to take over ½ a gigabyte of space. Do you want to continue? So you're going to go ahead and push Y, and then you push enter, because yes, we want to download it. So now it's going online from the Ubuntu servers, and it's downloading the Go language. All right, cool. Let that cook. Hex King chain coin it was. Gotcha. Jay, everything you make it look easy. It's not. This took hours of trial and error and struggling behind the scenes. I was hoping to stream this like 3 days ago, but it took me this long just to get here. Mickey Moore, that false CD ejects that's been around since the 90s. Lols. Oh man, that's old school Linux bug. Lols. That's hysterical. Bro, can you share the build commands, please? Absolutely, I will be putting it down in the description of this video after the video. I will be posting this for sure.
Very nice.
Yeah, definitely. I'll put it in there. Maybe I'll even do it on Twitter. Yeah, I'm not sure what the easiest place to get it is, but I'll put it in the video description. Ash says, LOL took me a couple tries too. Yeah, there is some trial and error involved with this. I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to the commands. I want to do this in the fewest commands possible without installing any other junk. So I've like reloaded this. I've like wiped this server like multiple times over and started from scratch. Like whenever I goof up, I just like turn it off and I just erase the hard drive and start over. So I've gone through painstaking steps. Blackwing, how much X is required to do this? Absolutely none. This is completely free. This costs nothing. As long as you got the hard drive space and enough RAM and CPU power on your current PC, you're all set. This is all free. This is all open source software. No cost. Nice and easy. Or Pulse. Yep, no Pulse. So this is a full node. This is not a validator. A full node is a copy of the blockchain, and it's a server that talks to the other servers, but this is not a validator or delegator. That's something completely different, which doesn't exist yet. Richard and the guys, his devs are still working on that. Hextoshi, thanks, David. This is fun. I didn't know it was this nerdy, or I was this nerdy. Yeah, man. Welcome aboard, dude. Yeah, this is where the real blockchain guys are hanging. All right, cool. So Golang is installed. All right, so now we're going to download the PulseChain software. So you just type in git clone https://gitlab.com/go-pulse.git. Enter. Now what the server's doing is it's going to the Pulse stuff that Richard and his guys released the other day. It's automatically downloading all the files from that website and it's going to put it right here on the server for us. Blackwing, so this mines the transactions on the PulseChain network. Blackwing, nope, this one does not. This one just watches and it listens to the blockchain and it downloads and adds to them, but it doesn't actually do the mining. That's only the special 33 validators that are going to happen later. In the future, there'll be just 33 of these that can mine the blocks. And you have to take a bunch of Pulse and you have to validate it. You got to lock it up inside the server. And then you might have to have other people delegate to you to boost you up higher in the rankings. So that'll come later. This is just a plain vanilla, this just listens and records everything basically. All right, cool. So we have cloned the PulseChain com Git. So now we've got all that software and all those files from the GitLab. We've got them now. Okay, next step is we got to go into the folder. There's a folder that we just made, and I'll show you. If you type in ls, that is the list. It'll show you the files, and I know it's hard to see, but it's right in blue there. It's a folder. It's called pulse-go. So here's what you type in. You type in cd space go-pulse. Enter. And now you can see our cursor there. Now we're in that folder. Okay, so now we're in the Go Pulse folder. Now you just type in make all, and then you hit enter. So what this is doing is, we already downloaded that was the first thing we did was we downloaded make, and that's a program that like builds the software basically. So we go inside the Pulse folder, we type in make all, and now it goes ahead and does it. Okay, so now it's installing and unpackaging and getting all this ready. There's a lot of stuff. So as you can see here, based on the list here, a lot of this is coming from, there's AWS software in there, there's Ethereum Go software. That's what most of PulseChain is based off of. It's based off of Go Ethereum. So right now it's grabbing all of the stuff that it needs and packaging it all together. Diamond Dad says, when we delegate our Pulse, is our Pulse at risk? I asked Richard that question a couple of times. I did not get a straight answer. I don't know. For the validator who runs the server and does it, yes. If the validator turns off, they're getting slashed. The delegators that assign their Pulse to that validator, I'm not sure if they get slashed at the same time either. That I definitely want the answer to. That's we don't know yet. Coming soon. I hope the answer is no. If I'm a delegator, I don't want to get slashed if the validator does. That's pretty high risk. Safe Vape. What's going on, my man? Have I entered the tech headroom of Pulse? Yes, sir. Welcome. Welcome aboard. I'm also a longtime vapor as well. So welcome. You're in good company. Blackwing. So if you use this vanilla style node, you can look at all the transactions. Bingo. Exactly. Yep. This will download the whole blockchain locally to your server here. And then, yeah, you can like ask your server for info about the blockchain without relying on anybody else or having to go to a, you know, like PulseScan.com, EtherScan, you know, whatever we call it, PulseScan, I'm assuming. You know, like you could almost like have your own copy, basically. So A says, are there any PLS rewards for running geth nodes? Nah, sadly. Nope, not unless you're a validator. That's the only way to get the rewards. Doing this like is free. Like you won't make any money doing this. But doing it like this plain vanilla, you're also not at risk either. You're just helping to keep the network decentralized. Copy. You're just spreading the blockchain. When somebody else does this, if your server's already up and running, your server will help them and it'll send them pieces of the blockchain. All right, cool. So that's all done. So we have, last command we did was make all. So now it's kind of compiled it and put all the pieces together. So next step is we type in cd space build, which puts us in the build folder. There's another folder. You type in cd space bin, bin, hit enter. Now we're in the bin folder. Then you type in period / geth and then hit enter. There we go. This starts the PulseChain version of geth. And here it is kicking off. I'll try to read it real quick. It says starting geth on Ethereum mainnet. Max users per count. Failed to enumerate USB drives. It's looking for ledgers and treasures. That is an option with the original geth for Ethereum. Like you can use a ledger or treasure to activate it or connect to it, check your wallet, stuff like that. So right now, I'm not an expert at this, and this is so brand new. I don't know if this is just running the regular geth Ethereum right now, and I'm just connecting to Ethereum mainnet. There may not be any like Pulse changes in here yet because we technically haven't forked yet, right? Like PulseChain really doesn't exist. That's going to happen later at the snapshot, where Rich is going to pick a block, like a day and time in Ethereum, and say, okay, here's the block. After this happens, we're forking, like there, and then there goes Ethereum down this chain, and then here goes Pulse down this chain. That's coming soon. So I think right now what's happening here is we're just connecting to the regular old Ethereum mainnet, and that's what this is doing, and it's downloading the whole blockchain. Right now, down at the bottom, you can see it says peer count 1, tried 58. Basically, what's going on right now is this server is yelling out over the internet like, hey, Ethereum geth nodes, Ethereum nodes, like, who's got the blockchain? Help me. Can I get a blockchain? Can you give me some copy? Now right here at the bottom it says block synchronization started, and it's just trying to find another node that'll give us a download. And then we just let it cook. Ash says, yeah, you're connecting to ETH mainnet. All right, cool. Thank you for confirming. My understanding is we would point to a net via some kind of flag, maybe on the geth command. Awesome. All right, that makes sense. So the last command I threw that I typed in here, I did that period / geth. We might have to put additional arguments or settings after. There may be an IP address or like a .com that Richard's using to start up the Pulse chain. So we might have to connect that in a couple days, maybe next week when it's ready. And then that's how we'll do the test net. That makes complete sense to me, Ash. Yeah. Is we'll probably have to manually connect to the test net first and then try that out. So hopefully coming soon, man. I'm chomping at the bit, dude. I wish it was here today so we had all weekend to play with it, but that's okay. Coming soon. Are there any security scripts needed recommended? Great question, Thomas Turner. 100%. I don't know what they are, though. I'm not a Linux expert. This is like, I don't use Linux or Ubuntu a lot, but I bet you there's a bunch of commands that most Linux server admins would recommend to make your server more secure and yeah, so you don't get hacked. I'm sure there's a bunch of things you can do to a plain vanilla server like this to make it better. So for sure, sadly, I don't know what any of those are. I don't know any of them. This is not my expertise. This is new to me as well. But that's why I'm excited, because I love tech, like I really do. So that's why I want to try this out and really get in here. This is like a great chance. Yeah, you can like learn this stuff from scratch at the beginning. So you have it, guys. Thank you, Ash. Thank you. That's it, guys. It's up and running. The geth node is working. That's it. That's like the bare minimum. This is the bare minimum to make it work. And Richard should be hitting us up soon with some additional details as to how to connect to the testnet once his servers are ready. And then we're off to the races, guys. Then we could try it out. So that's about it. There we go. So in the description of the video, as soon as we're done here in a minute, I'll go ahead and I will post the commands. And I'll do a little rough freehand of, where to get Ubuntu and stuff. That's about it. That's all we got, guys. That's it. We did it. We did it. Yay. PulseChain nodes activate. Oh, love it, guys. I love it. So I'm going to try to jump on Discourse Syndicate. Got an hour and 20 minutes until those guys are on at 10 p.m. Eastern. So maybe I'll jump on there and say hello to those dudes. At the very least, I'll be in the chat. Thank you all for being here. Ash, Rothko, Thomas Turner, Chris, all you guys, Blackwing, Safe Ape, Hex Toshi, yeah, Russ, yeah, all you guys, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you found this useful. Try it out. Give it a shot. The more the merrier. When PulseChain comes out for real, when we're on mainnet and the forks already happened and Richard launches it and like we're up and running, out of the kindness of your hearts, I would recommend doing this. The more of us that do this on their computers, the better. And PulseChain can't be censored. If these servers get shut down, as long as there's a couple of them running out there in the internet, we'll be okay. Like, this is the blockchain. Like, we have to keep this alive. Like that's, yeah. X-King Peter's in it for the tech. That's right, man. I'm in it for the tech. Never mind the mad, juicy gains of the best appreciating asset of all time, which is Hex. Soon to be PulseChain.
Oh, a wall.
All right, guys. But for real, though, I love you all. Hope this was fun, and I'll see you guys on Discord Syndicate. Have a great night, Hexicans. Catch you later. Bye-bye.